Fine. So now we're moving on to Gandhian approach to rural development. See, actually, this is a little philosophical topic. So now for us, so far, we have had an idea about what is rural development. Right or not? So rural development means we have to provide economic infrastructure, we have to provide social infrastructure, there has to be no inequality, people should have complete choices and alternative employment opportunities. All those things is rural development for us. Right or not? So, like providing a better quality of life to the rural people is known as rural development for us. Right or not? But for Gandhiji, rural development meant a lot of other things, okay, than the conventional things that we are talking about. Gandhiji also included some of the other dimensions to rural development. Why this is important? Because he believed that the life of this country's economy is in villages. Understood? So, Indian economical life and Indian cultural life and Indian social life is in the villages, is what he believed in. So, for somebody like him, okay, for somebody like him is talking about rural development, then that can be a framework for us to focus on rural development in a better way. Understood? Yes. So we can in fact call him as like a rural development economist antane karibodu for the way of approach that he has come up with for emancipation of people's deprivations or problems. Understood? Yes. So firstly, rural India is found in its villages. Okay. So now villages is the core of India, like the population concentration and also the employment pattern. So therefore, if villages are to be, empowered, then rural development is very, very significant. All right. And then villages should no more be exploited. What is this exploitation that we are talking about? Okay, deforestation, okay, and their access to those minor produces are, or rather we can say these community resources are converted into private resources. Yes, then see, the concept of exploitation of resources is always like, if your resources are exploited, you should get a share of benefit. Right or not? But what is happening here, or what is happening back then when Gandhiji came up with the concept of rural development, it was that, private capital was encroaching on the resources, but the benefits were not being transferred to people of the land. That is the problem. So now, if now now we are coming up with concepts like relocation, and then with relocation they should be given land, employment opportunities, all those compensations we are talking about, right? Sometimes the compensation should be like more than the market value also, right or not? So no, that is there in some of the projects. Okay, so some of the sensitive areas, they give 5 times the market value also. So it has to be like that. So it is something that we are focusing on now, okay, because somebody gives up his occupation or place of residence for a government project, then that has to be well compensated, right or not? So now we are coming up with concepts like that. But here, when he said villages should not be exploited, it means that you should not plunder their resources for the well-being of the capitalists or private enterprises. Understood? Yes. So we understand that in Gandhian approach, the people of the land will get sufficient remuneration. After that only the benefits will percolate to people who come and invest here. Understood? Yes. So he is trying to come up with concept of self-sufficiency. What is the difference between self-reliance and self-sufficiency? No, relying on others is self-reliance. So here, see, self-sufficiency is not a possible concept, isn't it? Right or not? So no part of this universe is blessed with such kind of resources, or rather, the human greed has gone to such extent where no part of this universe will be completely self-sufficient by itself. In fact, the distribution of resources is also like that. Right or not? Could be your water resources, could be your vegetation pattern, could be food resources, could be minerals, could be anything. Okay, anything that is natural, they are not actually concentrated anywhere so that, we get everything in one particular location. No, not possible. Right or not? So self-sufficiency is little difficult. So self-reliance is something that we can come up with. Understood? Yes, but Gandhiji says every village can produce everything that it wants, which is little like, not so possible. Understood? Yes. So he comes up with concepts of self-sufficiency. Okay, villages can be self-sufficient is what he says. Got it? Yes. Moving ahead. Simple living and high thinking. This is what he means by self-sufficiency. He says that like if we can satisfy our needs at the basic level, then there is no need for taking another, states or another district's support. Every village can be self-sufficient by itself when it follows this concept of simple living. That is, there is no idea of accumulation of wealth or chase for these materialistic needs. Got it? Yes. So what is high thinking? When we say high thinking, he is coming up with concepts such as like, community welfare, eradication of inequality, removing the concentration of wealth, equitable justice. All this is nothing but high thinking. Okay? Human beings should be treated without any differentiation based on his material possessions is what our Gandhiji says. Got it? Yes. And then dignity of labor is emphasized in Gandhiji's approach to rural development. What is dignity of labor? Why is dignity of labor important for rural development? Correct. So I'm glad. Okay. So dignity of labor is nothing but every labor will have to be respected. Got it? Now, irrespective of the, especially during these times, okay, when Gandhiji came up with the concept of rural development and all, no, we had a lot of caste-based classification with respect to labor, right or not? So one kind of occupation was taken by that particular community only, right? So, and the community the caustic differences percolated into the occupation. And based on their occupation, they were treated differently. So that is wrong. Okay? If there is a barber in the village, he deserves due respect for being a barber in that particular village. Imagine a village without a barber. Right or not? Imagine a village without a dhobi or without a laundry service. Right or not? So all the menial services were very strongly, or menial occupations were very strongly rejected in the village setup. Okay, so that eventually led to lot of discrimination amongst the people. So that hampered the integration of citizens. Integration is very important, right? Feeling united and being an integral component of this country was being hampered by not having dignity of labor. So, see, in villages, especially when you say that, you belong to an education sector, you're a teacher or you're a professor, you deserve a lot of respect for it. Right or not? Likewise, you say that you belong to different occupation, that again is not treated well. Okay, so the differences will hamper the entire concept of we as a village should grow ahead. Okay, yes, so these differences will have to be removed on the Gandhiji, right? Then use of indigenous products, services and institutions. So this is a very important thing that we actually ignored. Okay, so Gandhiji's approach to rural development is not just philosophy based, it is also material based. Meaning, for having Swadeshi products, what we need? We need raw materials and we need industrial setup. Right or not? We need plants for production of these products. Right or not? So services, you have to develop the infrastructure for giving these services. Banks, banking service, you need banks. Or at least cooperative societies or regional rural banks, if not commercial. Right or not? So for services and institutions, schools, colleges, hospitals, and bus stops, everything will have to be there inside a village which is developed exclusively for that village only. Right? So go for indigenous or Swadeshi products. So he primarily focused on develop everything that you want by yourself. Imagine now the explosion of number of engineers, right or not? Imagine if the engineers from those villages were sent back to their villages with handsome salaries or remuneration. Don't you think it would in turn contribute to the development of those villages? Why are all these engineers, bouncing to villages, I mean to urban areas? Primarily, there is no opportunity to give these services. Right or not? So now we should try to focus on developing indigenous products, services, and institutions that we are going to resort to in urban areas in the health. Okay, go for indigenous or Swadeshi products and services, he says. Then, balance between ends and means. Very important thing. Balance between ends and means. So we always say your ends cannot justify your means. Isn't it? What does that mean? So, guri chanagide, hogo darinu chanagirbeku. That's the whole idea, right? So your destination is good, the objective is good, but then the way that you take to reach the destination is also equally important. So that means what? Flawed policies ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. You get this? So those flawed policies which do not have much of insights in introducing them, right or not? So now we have a lot of schemes and programs which are initiated to address this problem of rural backwardness, but how much it is helping the actual people is something that we have to focus on. So now here the problems such as wrong implementation or misimplementation, corruption, inefficiency in the administrative structure, bureaucratic nature of the administration, all these are problems that are hindrances to reach the destination, isn't it? Right or not? So all the political, interferences or influences in the project implementation phases, right or not? So you have come up with a project of 500 crore rupees for this particular village, but then 250 crores are going for leakages and corruption purpose, then that is like, you're taking wrong means to reach the right end. Right or not? Ivaga PDS systems alli kodo grains navella tagolade illa. Right or not? Do you think those grains are not available in black market? They are available very much, isn't it? Most of the people who take to PDS are reselling it to other people. Right or not? So now when such resale is happening, anybody from little decent standard of living will not resort to it. Why? Quality of the grains is bad. Nutritional significance of those grains are less. Right or not? So such is the policy level, policy making approach of our governments. Understood? See, we are not criticizing the policy making in total, but we are talking about the loopholes only here and there. Okay, we definitely have a lot of positives which we will see as we go ahead. Understood? Yes. See, these sound philosophical, the approach whatever he is coming up with sound philosophical, but they are not philosophical. They are talking about every damn problem that we have in actually having like 100% rural development. Got it? Yes. So as we move ahead, self-sufficiency, cooperative farming, and decentralization. Self-sufficiency we've discussed. What is cooperative farming? Many people come together and take to farming. Why they will have to come together? Better management of resources. Now let's assume that there are 5 farmers who are pulling in 1 tractor. So that can be used for the 5 farms, sowing purpose or plowing purpose. Understood? Yes. So primarily sharing the costs and benefits is nothing but cooperative farming. Okay. So that will help the farmers understand the cropping pattern much more better, and the capital investments will reduce in cooperative farming. It's a very good practice. Okay. Yes. But it has its own problems which we will discuss later. Okay, but cooperative farming is a progressive practice when farmers are collectively operating to increase their productivity. Got it? Yes. Then decentralization. What is decentralization in rural lives? Having more, financial resources at the disposal of villages is very important. So this PRAs, concept of our panchayats and municipalities, came only after 1992-93 times. Till then, we did not have any mandatory constitutional backing as such for these structures, right? But he proposed for decentralized way of administration for rural development. So, if this village level panchayats or gram panchayats or zilla panchayats or the municipalities, if they have, mostly village panchayats is what we are focusing on here. So, if they have more of financial resources at their disposal, they will have more opportunity to invest in those places that they want welfare in, right? So, if they do not have potable drinking water, then we can invest there. Right. So that's why we have this gram panchayats with the entire gram sabha members inside that. Right or not? So whatever they want, they can deliberate in the meetings. That will be reflected in the decision making of the gram panchayats. That's how it has to be. Understood? Yes. So decentralization, not just the central and the state government, the village economy should be treated like third tier of administration and the proposed Madiddu Gandhiji. All right. Then industrialization and trusteeship. What is industrialization? He focuses for the development of cottage industries. Andre, like what we call today as micro, small and medium enterprises. Other small level business industries will have to be developed in the villages for industrial development. And trusteeship. What is this trusteeship? It does not believe in the concept of private property much. Okay, if we have developed resources in this particular community, he focused for community ownership of resources. So this village acted like a trust of resources. Understood? So it is going to be providing welfare for people as it is its duty of existence. Understood? So there is no concept of amassing of wealth by private people who are indulging in productive economic activities. Understood? So community is going to own the resources of the village in total. Okay, so that is about the trusteeship and rural reconstruction. What is this reconstruction? Could be with respect to untouchability, could be with respect to the labor classification, division of labor, or could be with respect to formalization of credits, everything. Okay, so that structural problems, whatever existed, no, zamindars exploitation, untouchability based on caste, all those will have to be removed and brought in more reforms and Namma Gandhiji ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Got it? Yes. So these are the approaches or these are the dimensions that Gandhiji proposed for rural development. Did you understand?